Hello, I'm Greg Salyer, President of the Philosophical Research Society. We hope you are safe and well. The title of my last scheduled lecture was What We Need is a Good Ceremony. We most certainly do. But as president of a society dedicated to applied wisdom, I feel that I must pause and speak to this unique moment in American history. The pandemic is still here and is in fact increasing in many metrics. And while we are in this liminal zone, a space between one state of being and another story deeply rooted in our history and belief systems is beginning to be seen in all its ugliness. Accordingly, now is a time of reckoning that is creating radical uncertainty about what will happen next and what new story will emerge. That this would happen during a pandemic is remarkable, but not too surprising. Catastrophes seem to come in clusters, as we saw when the Kiowa of the Great Plains experienced a meteor shower right before the invasion of white people. At the same time, we knew that all of this was coming. A virulent pandemic has been predicted for decades. Virulent systemic racism's exposure has been coming. It's reached a boiling point in the last 4 years, and thanks to the bravery of peaceful protesters putting their bodies on the line, change is here now. Let me begin by stating unequivocally that Black Lives Matter. This is simply true, simply the case, and to deny it is to enter into a vast conspiracy of fear, ignorance, and weakness. We are all susceptible to these vices and others in our personal lives, and PRS exists to help us all transcend ourselves. But the myth of white supremacy has encoded those vices into our institutions so that after centuries, it can be removed only with great pain and suffering. It did not have to be this way. It does not have to remain this way. Capitalists, colonialists, and slaveholders rejected the obvious truth that Black Lives Matter, created a conspiracy of fear and its cousin violence, and built a society, our society, upon the rejection of that cornerstone truth. The result is that 400 years later, systems built on the lie that Black lives do not matter are still threatening those lives.
Poets and playwrights and actors, and that these were the closest friends that Lord Bacon had. We also then come to the book, and at the end of the play, Prospero cries, "And deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book." Drowning is a symbol of concealment, so that the concealment of the book, or the placing of it where it is inaccessible, is also part of the original plot and story. Actually now, then, we have to consider a little bit the political system and the situation it involved. The Baconian theory of philosophy and science is based upon experimentation, observation, and tradition. Bacon's outward texts emphasize all of these points. The entire theory is that man shall no longer follow the dictates of other men, that he shall no longer derive his authority from the past, or from that, for that matter, even from the contemporary. The individual, the scholar, must gain his authority by observation of facts. This involves experimentation, laboratory techniques, and everything that it is possible for the individual to learn. He also implies in this the foundation that was later to be enveloped by the cloak of the Royal Society, namely the exploration of all parts of the earth, to know more about their people, to know more about their natural resources, to find out about their flora and fauna, to determine their characters and their nationalities. It was also a continual program of research into man, the circulation of the blood, the development of the new concepts of astronomy by Copernicus and Galileo. All these things were part of a great pattern which had as its primary objective human improvement.
Michelle Obama is getting candid about the fear she has for her two daughters every time they leave the house. In an interview with CBS This Morning, co-host Gayle King, the mom of two, says the innocent act of getting a driver's license is enough to put fear into the hearts of Black parents.
The fact that they are good students and polite girls, but maybe they're playing their music a little loud. Maybe somebody sees the back of their head and makes an assumption.
Sasha and Malia, who were only 7 and 10 years old when the Obamas entered the White House, are both now in college.
I've spent my children's entire life raising them to be independent, confident, young women who are ready to build great lives for themselves.
With Malia graduating this year.
I am excited for her next chapter. That's why I want to be as excited as every parent. I don't want to have to worry about her entering a world where she has to worry about how people would treat her because of the color of her skin.
The former First Lady went on to acknowledge the various issues we're still facing as a country, including police misconduct and the work that still needs to be done to end systemic racism.
For me, it goes back to we have to get to know each other. And so much of what is going on is that if you've been raised to assume that all Black people are X, in the case of interactions with Black men and police officers, sadly, it can also often lead to death.
She also opened up about how the coronavirus pandemic has affected her mental health.